Black approval for President Trump soars to 46% as the Biden coalition collapses. Gang, this is unbelievable. In this video, we're going to take a look at the stunning surge in support for President Trump among blacks, how that surge can already be seen in Trump beginning to run away with it in the latest polling from key swing states, and how Joe Biden's voting coalition is actually beginning to implode right before our very eyes. All right, gang, let's just dive right in here. This is amazing stuff. We've got two major dynamics working together right now that may be setting us up for not just an electoral college landslide, but indeed a massive popular vote victory for President Trump. So let's first look at the latest black approval ratings from the president. Just came in today because they are absolutely through the roof. According to Rassmussen, President Trump's approval rating among black likely voters has soared to 46%. Now, this was just announced as of today. This follows in the heels of Rasmussen's overall approval rating for President Trump, hitting a high of 52% just yesterday. It's 51% today. What makes the Rassmussen poll among black likely voters so interesting is that it's not an outlier. He's been tracking with black sentiment towards the president all week this week, and he's found a steady increase in black support for Trump literally every single day. So on Monday, the 19th, 25% of blacks supported Trump. On Wednesday, it was 31%. On Thursday, it was 37%. And then, of course, today, on Friday, it surged to 46%. So there's been a surge, no question, near doubling of black approval President Trump in a week's time, less than a week, actually. And, of course, make no mistake, this is a nightmare scenario for the Democrats, which we'll get into in just a bit. We'll develop it. But it's an absolute nightmare scenario. And they've known about this for some time. Democrats have this propensity among blacks to give Trump favorable ratings. Rassmussen polling has noticed significant support for Trump in the past, such as one last year, placing the president's approval rating among black Americans at 36%. And it's absolutely panicking the Democrat. Gang, this is why they are so fixated on Trump being the most racist president in all the history of the cosmos and nonsense like that. It's an attempt to scare and intimidate this valuable voting constituency into compliance. Now, this is just half of it, okay? We're not just seeing this absolutely unprecedented support for President Trump among blacks. On the other side, we're seeing Biden underperform 2016 levels among blacks. So let me give you a couple of examples of this. It's very interesting. In Georgia, the black vote in 2016 was 30%. Right now, it's dropped to 28.8%, and it's falling. It's expected to continue to fall all the way up to Election Day. In North Carolina, where the black vote is one of the higher percentages among the swing states, Obama was able to win the state in 2008 by just 1 percentage point, with blacks making up 23% of the electorate. The black vote right now in North Carolina is barely 21%. And again, it's continuing to fall. But again, that's just half of it. If we bring in the other half, where Trump is way outperforming among blacks, then we could see what a disaster this is turning out to be for Democrats. An Emerson College poll that came out in August showed that 19% of blacks were committed then to voting for President Trump in November. Now, if Trump gets anywhere even close to that number, this election will be one of the biggest electoral landslides we've ever witnessed. It is widely acknowledged that if the Democrats lose 15% of the black vote, they're a permanent minority party. They are that fragile. This is why the mainstream Marxist media pushes the racism narrative every chance they get. Again, it's all an attempt to intimidate black voters by using fear to keep them within the Democratic Party. But it doesn't appear to be working. Zogby is showing 2.5 times the support of blacks for Trump since 2016. Remember, Trump got 13% of black men to vote for him in 2016. It was black women who brought the overall percentage down. Only 4% of black women voted for him. So Trump is already easily within earshot of the magic 15%, at least with black men. And with the Rassmussen poll hitting close to 50% approval among blacks in general, Trump has an amazing shot at 15%, maybe even as high as 20%. That's Candace Owens' goal. She wants 20% black vote for Trump 2020. But here's the key. If Trump is outperforming with blacks better than he did in 2016, and if Biden is underperforming with blacks than the Democrats did in 2016, with less blacks overall voting, perhaps as much as a 5% decline since 2016. So there are less black voters in 2020, and more of them are going to Trump. And if that's the calculus, if the calculus is less black votes overall and more of those votes going to Trump than ever before, I think Larry Schweikert is absolutely right here in that the math says that we may be seeing around 4 to 6 million less votes for Biden than Hillary in 2016 with just the black vote, which means Trump wins the popular vote. Another way of putting it is that if Trump doubles his share of black votes, if he goes from 8 to 15%, 16%, maybe even 19%, if that happens, Trump wins the popular vote just by virtue of the black vote alone. And it gets even better. You are not going to believe this. Again, you're ready for this? Oh, this is so much fun. The youth vote. We talked about this the other day. The youth vote is collapsing for the Democrats. Look at these numbers coming out of Nevada, right? These are votes cast by age group. Look at this. The 18 to 24-year-old demographic, the so-called youth vote, is barely 4%. Now, if you look at the voter registration, 18 to 24-year-olds represent over 10% of the vote. Again, Schweikert has noticed that in Philadelphia, which is home to Temple University, Drexel University, UPenn, LaSalle University, the 18 to 24-year-old youth vote has gone from 23.1% in 2016 to now just 11.7% in 2020. That's a total collapse. I mean, Biden's coalition is absolutely collapsing before our very eyes. And so Schweikert has this fascinating prediction. I think he's right. He's noting that because college campuses are empty this year, more or less, right, the Democrats are going to have to make up for that absence of mobilization. So college campuses are centers for recruiting students for Democrats, right? But there's nobody on college campuses to recruit. So then on Election Day on November 3rd, it's going to be a bust in terms of 18 to 24-year-old college vote, which means that according to Schweikert, that Democrats are going to have to make up for that deficit on Election Day. At least a 30% higher mail-in ballot return among college voters to make up for the shortfall on Election Day. The Democrats are so far behind that number right now that we may in fact be seeing the college age vote, the so-called young people's vote, collapse by a full 2/3. One of the Democrats' major voting constituencies might end up falling short of their 2016 vote tally by 2/3 this year. And then you put that together with the shrinking black vote overall and a larger share of that black vote going to Trump, which alone could be enough for Trump to win the popular vote. Gang, it's a total disaster, an absolutely stunning fail on the part of Biden and the Democrats. And again, we already seem to be seeing the results of this. Look at some of these polls that are just coming out today. Rassmussen has Trump up by 3 in Florida. Morning Consult poll has Trump up by 1 in Arizona and up by 2 in Ohio. A new Zia poll has Trump up by 4 in Michigan. And that's being corroborated by the absolutely awesome black Senate candidate, John James, who's taken the lead there according to the latest Trafalgar poll. So it really looks like we're already seeing the effects of Biden's coalition breaking down here. Trump is surging in the polls. He's taking the lead and running away with it in the swing states. Biden is faltering. He's sinking. Trump's rallies are huge while Biden's are pathetic. The enthusiasm for Trump is freaking through the roof. All the while, Biden is underperforming Hillary levels. He's underperforming 2016 among black turnout, among youth turnout, as well as the overall share of the vote. We may indeed be seeing his campaign sputtering out of control here, and Trump taking off with all of this. It's going to be an exciting home stretch for sure.